What's up everybody, my name's Andy and welcome back to Kit Guru. As we probably all know by now, Elgato are streaming and content creation giants, making all kinds of solutions and handy bits of hardware and software for creators, such as capture cards, the Stream Deck, macro pads, microphones and more, many of which we've reviewed here on the channel. One thing Elgato have been extremely keen on is high quality camera capture with the likes of their Camlink, Camlink 4K and Camlink Pro. So Camlinks are tiny capture cards that take a clean HDMI feed from a DSLR or mirrorless camera and allow you to record or live stream your footage. I myself even purchased and still use the original Camlink today, the 1080p one, and it's great, but you already had to own and know how to use an expensive camera to use it. However, now they're going one step further. Elgato now want to appeal to the masses by entering the webcam scene with the all-in-one solution, which is the Elgato FACECAM, and it's just launched with a hefty price of £189.99. The webcam scene already has some heavy hitters available, so is it any good? Well, let's find out. So now I want to start with who this is aimed at. If you're an established creator with high-end cameras and capture cards, well, this probably isn't for you, unless you want a smaller portable solution for making content on the go, or you want an additional camera. The FaceCam is better suited to those wanting to upgrade from the likes of a C920, one of the older webcams, or wanting to start creating with a good camera from the get-go, and especially for people that don't want to potentially spend multiple hundreds of pounds on cameras, lenses and capture cards in future. This could also be great for those that need a high quality image feed for online business meetings or teach-ins, where a standard low-res webcam won't cut the mustard. Be warned though, unlike proper cameras, webcams are not upgradable, so you need to make sure that you can get the best one you can first, the first time you buy. So inside the box we get a quick start guide, a detachable USB-A 3.0 to USB-C cable, and then the webcam itself. Physically, the webcam is pretty large, especially in comparison to my older Logitech C920, but despite its size, it's super lightweight, coming in at just 96 grams without the lens cap and mount. Design-wise, it's completely made from plastic. It does feel a little cheap, but because it's so lightweight, you won't have to worry about the camera sagging on its mount or any other mount that you attach it to. It's a large rectangular shape with slightly curved edges. On its left side we have FaceCam printed, and on the top we have a gloss Elgato logo. The back has large vents for airflow, and inside Elgato have actually put a dedicated heatsink, which they claim can cool it for 24 hours, 7 days a week. Now, I'm not entirely sure how it would handle that kind of use, and I certainly wouldn't recommend it, but it shows how confident they are with cooling the sensor. Below the vent we have our USB-C connection, which in 2021 I expect to see, and I am glad to see it here today. Cable wise, it's a pretty thick one with large kinks, but these do pull out mostly as it's quite a stiff cable. Luckily, it's a good length at around 2 meters long, so it shouldn't be an issue installing the camera where you want it. On the bottom, we have our classic plastic monitor mount. You can angle the camera up and down easily, which has a nice resistance to stay where you set it. If you partially unscrew the mount base plate, you can swivel the camera left and right too, then screw it back up to your desired position. What I love about this is that you can unscrew the mount entirely. This leaves you with a 1/4 inch thread in the base of the camera, and this thread is metal, which is excellent as it won't wear as easily as plastic. Having this mount option means you can connect it to all kinds of available mounting options offered by Elgato. Or if you're like me and you don't have any, you can attach it to a cheap tripod or a magic friction arm to attach the webcam anywhere you like. Back to the front of the camera, Elgato have included a plastic lens cap that is push fit into place. I like having a privacy cap to use when you're not using the camera, but it isn't attached in any way, so you could potentially lose it. It may have been nice to have an integrated slider instead, but it's not a big deal really. Behind the cap we have our lens. Unlike the C920 that has a plastic cover over the lens, the FaceCam is fully glass. This is excellent as it should improve image quality, contrast and sharpness sharpness. It features 18 anti-reflective coatings too to aid in image quality and to prevent lens flare. Spec-wise, we have a prime lens here, and what this means is that it is a set focal length as opposed to a zoom lens which can protrude and retract to zoom in and out optically. The focal length of this face cam is 24mm full frame equivalent, so it is not cropped in at all, which is actually quite wide. It also has an 82 degrees field of view as well. This lens has an f2.4 aperture, so aperture determines how wide the lens can open to let light in. The higher the aperture number, the less light it lets in. So f2.4 is what we'd call a fast lens, as it opens wide to feed more light into the sensor, which means better image quality and performance in low light. Webcams have notoriously small sensors in comparison to real cameras, so the more light that can reach the sensor, the better. Of course, we'll be testing this out a bit later. Sensor-wise, Elgato have opted for a Sony Starvis CMOS sensor. Now, you may be thinking, hang on Andy, I've heard this before, and you would be right. A while ago, I reviewed the Razer Kaio Pro webcam, and this also had a Sony Starvis CMOS sensor. The Starvis technology in the sensor is an adaptive light technology with backlit pixel technology to increase picture quality in dark conditions. Pair this with the Facecam's wide f2.4 aperture, and we should be onto a winner here. Just like the Kaio Pro, the Elgato FaceCam sensor is capable of a maximum resolution of 1080p 60 uncompressed. This is superb, and being uncompressed means there's no unnecessary re-encoding, which should then give better image quality and lower latency. For those of you thinking, hang on, what? Why is there no 4K? Well, let me reiterate the points I made in the Kaio Pro review to show you why 1080p 60 is better. Reason 1 is nobody actually needs 4K webcams because all streaming platforms max out at 1080p, mainly due to bandwidth limitations, but also because your webcam is usually a tiny portion of the screen, not the entire thing, so your PC will be transcoding all of this data just to downsample it maybe to say 360p as a tiny image in the corner, so it's kind of useless. Reason 2, webcam sensors are so small that they need help, all the help they can get really, to take on as much light as possible. The higher the resolution, the more pixels are crammed into a tiny sensor, and this means each pixel takes on less light and cause poor image quality. Whereas having less pixels mean the pixels can be larger and take on more light per pixel, giving a better image in low light conditions. Now, despite having a Sony Starvis sensor like the Razer Kaio Pro, there are actually a couple differences here. The Kaio Pro has an even wider aperture of f2.0 compared to the Facecam's 2.4 aperture, and if you've seen my Kaio Pro review, you'll have seen the autofocus was absolutely abysmal, totally unusable, and I even said that you should only use the camera with manual focus mode turned on in the settings. Well, luckily Elgato have clearly learned from Razer's mistakes and know how poor webcam's autofocus can be, so they've just removed it. The Facecam is a fixed focus camera, so there's no autofocus whatsoever. It has a focus range of 30 centimeters to 120 centimeters, so providing you're within those parameters, you're going to be in focus, and personally, I think this was 100% the right move, as there's absolutely nothing worse than poor autofocus constantly hunting. I myself use a manual focus only cine lens on my camera right here to record our talking headshots like this, to ensure that there's no focus hunting at all, and it gives much more professional results. Another omission here is the complete lack of microphone on the Facecam. This is another excellent move by Elgato. Standard webcams, I can appreciate the inclusion of mics for a truly plug and play setup for all kinds of users, but they are always really terrible quality. At nearly £200, Elgato are really marketing this towards live streamers and content creators that should be using a dedicated microphone anyway. I'm glad that they've just straight up removed this, as it means they can use the costs on things like the better glass and the lens and the coatings and stuff like that. So let's move on to the software and then start doing some tests with different lighting situations as well. Elgato's software for the Facecam is called the Camera Hub and can be found on their downloads page on the website. So the software is very intuitive with the preview on the right hand side. Under the preview, you can select your video format from 1080p 60, 1080p 30 and below. There's a screenshot button and also a folder button that opens the screenshot location, and you can toggle preview on and off on the bottom right as well. On the left side is where all the good stuff happens. You can digitally zoom, but I would advise not to use this as it decreases resolution. Keep the slider to the left hand side for the best image. Under picture settings, you can change contrast, saturation, and sharpness. Exposure tab has to be my favorite. It comes with automatic turned on, and here you can change the metering and compensation. This is great for those that aren't familiar with camera settings in video, but if you're experienced, then you can toggle automatic off, and this changes the settings to allow control of your shutter speed and ISO. Now, I absolutely love this. I can't stress enough how much control this gives you over your image. Rule of thumb, for video at least, is the 180-degree rule, and this means whatever your frame rate is, you should double your shutter speed to that number. For example, 60 FPS, you want to select 1/125 shutter, as that's the closest to 1/120. But for 30 FPS, you want to set your shutter to 1/64, and then you can adjust your ISO or digital fake light to compensate the brightness to your desired liking. The reason you want your shutter speed to double your frame rate is for the most natural motion blur, so I'm going to show you right now. Too slow and it will be very blurry and odd. Too fast and it will be all jittery and unnatural, as you can see. So having these options for a webcam is just brilliant. There is a slight issue here, but I will come back to that in a second. Next, we have white balance, so you can choose auto, or if you're using video lights, you can set the Kelvin to match your light's Kelvin values. Another brilliant option that really lets you customize and adjust to your situation. The processing tab has noise reduction, so this softens the image and smooths it out a little bit. However, with the right lighting conditions, you may not even need to use this, as the darker the situation, the more noisy the image will be. So if I turn this LED light on right now and drop the ISO, you can see there's less noise now. The other excellent feature is the anti-flicker modes. So you have 60 or 50 Hertz, but this can only be used when exposure is set to automatic. So let me go and turn the room lights on quickly. In the UK, our standard room lights are 50 Hertz. So if I set the face cam to 60 Hertz, it will flicker in the background, as hopefully you can see. But set to 50, there's no flicker. So in the US and other countries, it's the other way around. This is where I have a slight issue with setting shutter speed in the previous tab. It only lets you select certain shutter speeds, so you can't avoid flickering if you're in a 50 Hertz region without selecting automatic exposure and then selecting 50 Hertz in the anti-flicker zone. If there were more shutter speed options, you could avoid flickering by setting the shutter to 1/100 instead of 1/125 for 60 FPS, for instance. But sadly, this just isn't possible. At least there is an anti-flicker option though. The final bit of the software is in the top left under the device tab. Now you might see a blue button called save, and that is just the icing on the cake here. You can actually save all of your custom settings to the FaceCam's internal flash memory, and this is absolutely fantastic. This means you can save to the camera and then not need the software at all if you're in a studio environment where the lighting's not going to change at all. It also means your settings aren't going to change randomly if the software updates or something like that. They're just set to those settings, and then they will also apply to OBS or any other software that you might be using that may not allow the FaceCam software to run in the background. Overall, by far, this is the best software I have ever seen for a webcam. It offers complete control over your image, and it's intuitive for new users and advanced users too. The fact that you can set your shutter, ISO, white balance and more whilst being able to save to the device itself is just superb. Of course, auto settings can look okay, but they can't compare to manually adjusting the image for the best image possible, depending on your lighting conditions. So now, let's compare the Logitech C920, which is still a popular webcam despite its age, to the Elgato FACECAM. The FACECAM is on the right hand side, the C920 is on the left. Right away you can see the FACECAM has a 16:9 aspect ratio and a much wider field of view. The C920 is almost 4:3 and has a more linear field of view. Despite being 1080p too, the C920 is clearly slightly softer in image quality. The C920 also has very mild focus issues as well, shifting in and out very slightly. It's not overly noticeable, but it does make the focus go soft. This setup is purely window lit from my right hand side and far left, and honestly, it's relatively low light right now, and yet the FaceCam looks great, and even the C920 does a good job holding up here as well. Now let's really put them to the test. I'm going to draw our blackout blinds so that the only light available will be from my two PC monitors. You can see how the C920 changes the shutter speed to add more light, and this causes that excessive motion blur that I showed you earlier, and it looks unnatural. The FaceCam wins here despite being very slightly darker. Now with the blinds drawn, I'm going to use our standard halogen room lights to see how they perform. Once again, the FaceCam wins here, looking much better without that background being blown out. Overall, a nicer image, and it's just better quality by far. Now with the blinds still drawn, I'm going to turn on my LED panels and see how this looks between the two. This is a more ideal lighting situation with direct constant light, and yet again the FaceCam just looks so much better. The C920 blows out my face with hot spots on my forehead and cheeks. All the highlights are just gone, but the FaceCam is exposed correctly and it looks great. So overall, the FaceCam blows the C920 out of the water, but I was expecting this as it's such a newer piece of hardware with better specs and software, just it's better all around. The set focus is excellent as it has a large enough area to be in focus, and of course doesn't suffer from focus hunting issues, which means no matter how poor the lighting conditions are, it will still be in focus. The uncompressed 60 FPS 1080p feed is sharp and detailed, colours are represented well, and the field of view is nice and wide. Of course, you can always crop in the image on OBS if you wanted to. The software is absolutely brilliant. Being able to have ultimate control over every aspect of the camera is exactly what I'd want as a video creator. Now, I am going to say it, this is by far the best webcam I've ever tested, and there's certainly no hesitation when I say I'd rather choose this over the Razer Kaio Pro. The only negatives really are the lack of shutter speed options for 50Hz regions at least, forcing you to use auto exposure and anti-flicker options instead of just setting the correct shutter speed. Also, the high price point is an issue, for some people at least, and lack of upgradability, but if you want a plug and play solution that you have complete control over and that you can rely on without having to fork out multiple hundreds of pounds for a dedicated camera and capture card that you will have to spend time learning how to use, then I definitely recommend the Elgato FaceCam. So what do you guys think? Will you be buying one? Let us know down below. If you've enjoyed this review, make sure to check out our merchandise down below, smash that subscribe and thumbs up as well. I'm Andy, this is Kit Grill, I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.